A powerful millionaire encounters his childhood sweetheart begging on the streets with two young twin children. He recognizes her instantly, but his subsequent actions are truly astonishing. Before we delve into the narrative, please share in the comments which city you're watching from. We hope you enjoy the story. Logan Bennett, a hard-nosed millionaire, was making his way across a bustling street corner when a particular sight arrested his attention. A woman dressed in grimy, tattered garments, her hair unkempt, was seated on the sidewalk. Her face was drawn with exhaustion and bore the marks of profound suffering. Beside her, two small girls, evidently twins around 4 years of age, were also in ragged outfits. One of them wept quietly, rubbing her eyes with tiny soiled hands. "Sweetheart, it's going to be all right. Someone will come to our aid soon," the woman whispered, caressing the child's hair, her voice trembling yet filled with a desperate, loving tone. A pang of recognition struck Logan. He knew that face, even obscured by dirt and pain. It couldn't be, yet it was. Olivia Carter, the object of his youthful admiration, the girl he had once observed from a distance. She had barely acknowledged his existence in school, save for moments when she'd ridiculed his clumsy attempts to gain her notice. Now here she was, vulnerable and utterly helpless. Logan approached cautiously, his heart pounding. "Olivia?" he called out, his voice uncertain. The woman slowly raised her head, her eyes widening as the voice registered. "Logan!" For a beat, neither spoke. The silence hung heavy between them, thick with painful recollections. Then Olivia averted her gaze as if wishing she could vanish. "What's happened to you?" he asked, unable to mask his deep concern. Olivia looked away, clutching her daughters even tighter. "It's of no consequence. We're fine. Please leave us, Logan." But Logan couldn't turn away from what he saw. One of the girls was clearly sobbing from hunger, while the other clung to her mother's arm, staring at him with wide, apprehensive eyes. The raw pain and despair of the scene impacted him profoundly. "You are not fine. Come with me. I'll assist you." "No, I can't," Olivia started to object. "I am not leaving you and your daughters out here in the cold. You are coming with me, and I will not accept no for an answer." The girls looked at him, a mixture of curiosity and caution in their eyes. The one who had been crying pressed her lips together, staunching her tears. Olivia hesitated, but Logan's resolute gaze compelled her to yield. She knew she had no viable alternative. Logan retrieved his phone and dialed his driver. "Be here in 5 minutes," he instructed before ending the call. "Let's go. There's no need for you to remain here." He extended his hand to Olivia, who reluctantly accepted it. When the car arrived, Logan assisted Olivia inside, carrying one of the girls while she held the other. The children were clearly exhausted, their faces resting against their mother's shoulders. During the journey to Logan's grand residence, the silence was stifling. Olivia stared out the window, lost in her thoughts. Logan glanced at her periodically, trying to fathom how her life had unraveled so dramatically. Upon their arrival, Olivia appeared visibly ill at ease. The imposing mansion, with its welcoming lights and pristine garden, seemed like an entirely different universe. "You don't need to do this, Logan. We can—" "No more arguments, Olivia. You'll come inside, have something to eat, and get some rest." The housekeeper, Mrs. Harper, opened the door, her expression surprised but unspoken. Logan directed her to prepare a room for Olivia and the girls. While Mrs. Harper attended to that, Logan led Olivia and the children into the living room. He ignited the fireplace, creating a cozy warmth, and requested that food be prepared for them. "Thank you, Logan. Truly thank you," Olivia said, her eyes glistening with tears as the girls nestled onto the sofa beside her. Logan nodded, his mind racing. He knew this night was merely the beginning. Tomorrow he would need to understand the full story of what had befallen Olivia and how she had ended up in such dire straits. The first light of dawn was just beginning to filter through the windows of Logan's mansion, but Olivia was already stirring. Seated on the edge of the bed, she watched her twin daughters, Harper and Hazel, who slept soundly. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, her children were warm and secure. This should have brought her solace, but instead a knot of anxiety tightened in her throat. Across the expansive house, Logan was also awake, seated in his study, Contemplating the events of the previous night, the image of Olivia on the sidewalk, cradling her children, replayed relentlessly in his mind. He needed to comprehend the circumstances that led to her current situation. After all, the Olivia he remembered from school had been vibrant and self-assured, seemingly destined for a bright future. Shortly thereafter, the housekeeper knocked softly on Olivia's door. "Miss Carter, breakfast is served. Mr. Bennett has requested that you and the girls join him downstairs." Olivia expressed her thanks and gently woke the twins. A few minutes later, they descended together to the dining room, where an abundant breakfast spread awaited them. The girls darted excitedly to the chairs, delighted by the array of fruits, breads, and juices. Olivia, however, paused hesitantly. "Please have a seat," Logan said, appearing in the doorway. He was dressed in a crisp white shirt and appeared composed, though a serious note underscored his gaze. "Thank you," Olivia replied, pulling out a chair while observing Harper and Hazel eat with enthusiasm. Throughout the meal, an uneasy silence permeated the air between Logan and Olivia. He knew he needed to approach the subject delicately, but was resolute in uncovering the truth. Once the girls had finished eating, the housekeeper guided them to a nearby room to play. Olivia remained seated, now alone with Logan. He rested his elbows on the table and looked directly at her. "Olivia, we need to talk. I want to understand what happened to you." She averted her gaze, her hands clasped in her lap. "It's not a story I enjoy recounting. I'm not here to pass judgment. I simply want to help." Logan paused, choosing his words with care. "When I saw you yesterday, you and your daughters were in a predicament that, well, it doesn't develop overnight." "What transpired, Olivia?" She took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a moment before starting to speak. "After we finished high school, I began dating Jake Miller. You recall him, don't you? He was the most popular boy in our year." Logan nodded, his jaw tensing at the mention of the name. He remembered Jake all too well, someone widely admired, yet capable of callously hurting others to achieve his own ends. "Jake and I started seeing each other right after the prom. I was deeply in love and believed he felt the same. A few months later, I discovered I was pregnant. When I told him, I imagined we would face it together. But he abandoned me. He claimed he wasn't ready to be a father and didn't want the responsibility. That was the last I ever saw of him." Logan clenched his fists on the table, struggling to suppress the anger surging within him. "He just left you?" Olivia nodded, her eyes welling with tears. "Yes. I was alone, with no support system. My parents weren't in a position to help much, and I did everything I could to provide for the girls, but it was never enough. Eventually, I lost my job, and over time, the bills mounted. When Harper and Hazel were 2 years old, we were evicted from our apartment. Since then, we've been living on the streets, depending on the kindness of strangers." Logan sat in silence, processing her account. The strong, resilient Olivia he once knew had been broken by life in ways he could scarcely imagine. "Why didn't you ever seek help?" he finally asked, his voice softer now. "I was ashamed," Olivia admitted, "ashamed of how my life had unraveled. I didn't want anyone to see me in that state, especially not someone like you." Logan took a deep breath, a mixture of compassion and sorrow washing over him. "Olivia, no one deserves to endure what you've been through. You are not alone anymore. I will help you and your daughters get back on your feet." "Why, Logan? Why are you doing all of this for us?" He hesitated but knew he needed to be truthful. "Because, despite everything that's happened, I care about you. I've always cared." Olivia sat in silence, unable to respond. Logan's words echoed in her mind as she tried to absorb the reality of her situation. That night, as Olivia tucked her daughters into bed, she reflected on Logan's declaration. For the first time in years, a flicker of hope ignited within her. But she also understood that accepting his help meant confronting her deepest insecurities and rebuilding her life from the very foundation. The following morning, as sunlight streamed generously through the mansion's large windows, Olivia awoke to the gentle laughter of Harper and Hazel playing on the carpet beside her bed. For a fleeting moment, she felt as though she were dreaming. It was difficult to reconcile this comfort with the reality of just 24 hours prior, when she'd been sitting on a cold sidewalk, uncertain of their next meal. She stretched and called the girls to get ready. Fresh clothes, thoughtfully selected by the housekeeper, had been laid out in the room. Olivia was touched by the consideration, though she still felt somewhat out of place in such opulent surroundings. When they went downstairs for breakfast, Logan was already in the living room, reviewing some documents. He looked up as he heard the twins' footsteps and offered a faint smile. "Did you sleep well?" he inquired. Harper nodded enthusiastically, while Hazel shyly clung to her mother's hand. "Yes, it was the best night's sleep we've had in a very long time," Olivia replied, a hint of gratitude in her voice. "I'm glad to hear that." Logan gestured for them to be seated. "You don't need to worry about anything today. I want you to rest. The girls can play in the garden or wherever they please." Olivia hesitated. "Logan, I don't know how to adequately thank you for all of this, but I don't want to impose on your kindness. As soon as I possibly can, I'll find a job and—" Logan raised a hand, gently interrupting her. "There's no need to rush, Olivia. Before anything else, you need time to recover. Don't concern yourself with timelines. We'll figure things out together." Despite his reassuring words, Olivia still felt a weight on her chest. Accepting assistance didn't come easily to her. However, her daughter's well-being was paramount, and for their sake, she suppressed her pride. After breakfast, Harper and Hazel went to play in the garden under the housekeeper's watchful eye. Olivia, meanwhile, helped clear the dishes, feeling uneasy about not contributing more. Logan found her in the kitchen, shaking his head slightly as he saw her attempting to wash the dishes. "Olivia, you don't need to do that. I need to do something, Logan. I don't feel right just accepting everything without offering anything in return." Logan sighed. "If that's how you feel, fine. But for now, I'd like to discuss the girls. Do they have everything they require?" Olivia paused, considering. "They need a few things, like clothes and shoes. What they currently have is old and quite worn." "Excellent. Let's go out and get them what they need." Olivia's eyes widened. "That's not necessary, Logan. I can manage later." "No discussion," Logan said with a gentle smile. "I'll get the car." Half an hour later, Olivia, Harper, and Hazel were in a children's clothing store downtown, with Logan observing closely. The girls were overjoyed, running between the clothing racks and trying on new outfits. "Can I really have this, Mommy?" Harper asked, holding up a sparkling blue dress. Olivia's heart ached at the sight of her daughter's bright, hopeful eyes. "Yes, sweetheart, you can." Hazel, the more reserved twin, held up a pair of new sneakers. "Me too, Mommy?" Olivia nodded, an emotional smile playing on her lips. "You too, my love." Logan watched silently, pleased to see the girls so visibly happy. After selecting clothes, shoes, and a few toys, he took them to a restaurant for lunch. During the meal, the twins chattered excitedly, sharing stories and playing with each other. Olivia watched them, a sense of relief washing over her as she saw them smiling at last. "You've done so much for us today, Logan." "Thank you," Olivia said sincerely. "I've only done what anyone in my position should do," Logan replied casually. "You deserve this, Olivia." Olivia lowered her eyes, a familiar shame creeping back. She knew Logan was being kind, but she couldn't help but recall how she had treated him in their younger years. "You're a much better person than I ever was to you, Logan," she murmured, almost inaudibly. Logan frowned. "Olivia, the past is behind us. What's important now is what we do moving forward." She nodded, though the guilt still lingered. When they returned to the mansion, the twins ran straight to the garden to show off their new clothes. Olivia watched them from the living room window, a smile gracing her face. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of security. Logan, standing beside her, broke the silence. "They're incredible little girls. They're my reason to keep going. Even in the darkest moments, they gave me the strength to move forward." Logan looked at her with admiration. "You're stronger than you realize, Olivia. To endure everything you have and still stand tall, that's a quality few possess." She sighed. "I don't know if it's strength or just stubbornness, but either way, thank you." Logan smiled. "If you ever need anything, you know you can count on me." Olivia nodded, finally feeling that she could perhaps trust someone besides herself. The next morning, Olivia awoke to the soft sunlight streaming through the curtains. Harper and Hazel were still sound asleep, their faces relaxed, free from the anxieties they had carried on the streets. Olivia watched her daughters for a moment, a blend of relief and hope stirring within her. Maybe a fresh start was truly possible. After dressing, she went downstairs and found Logan in the kitchen, sipping coffee and reading the newspaper. He looked up as he heard her footsteps and smiled. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Yes, thank you. And you?" "Like a log," he replied, folding the newspaper and standing up. "I made coffee for you, too. Please sit." Olivia thanked him, feeling surprisingly at ease with the routine that was beginning to develop between them. As she sipped her coffee, Logan sat across from her. "I was thinking," he began, "now that the girls are more settled, we can start focusing on you." "On me?" she asked, surprised. "Yes, you mentioned wanting to work again. What kind of job are you considering?" Olivia remained quiet for a moment, weighing her options. "I don't have a strong academic background, so my choices are somewhat limited. But I'm willing to do anything that allows me to support my daughters." Logan nodded. "That's understandable. But what if you could study? Finish your education and secure a job that genuinely brings you fulfillment?" Her eyes widened. "Study? That's out of the question, Logan. I don't have the time or the resources for that. You would have both here. I can assist with the expenses and ensure the girls are well cared for while you attend classes." Olivia shook her head, incredulous. "You've already done so much for us. I can't possibly accept anything more." Logan leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Olivia, this isn't just about you. It's about Harper and Hazel. If you have the opportunity to become stronger and more self-sufficient, it will ultimately benefit your daughters in the long run. Please consider it." Logan's words resonated deeply with Olivia. She knew he was right, yet she still grappled with her pride and shame. That evening, after putting the twins to bed, Logan asked Olivia to meet him in his office. He had something important to discuss. "Olivia, I have a proposal for you," he began, handing her a small envelope. She opened it to find information about courses in business and entrepreneurship. "I want you to consider enrolling in these courses. You're intelligent and determined, and I believe you possess the potential to achieve great things. This will equip you with the tools to support yourself and create a better future for your daughters." Olivia looked at the papers, her mind racing to process the offer. "Logan, this is too much. I'm not sure I can do it." "You're more capable than you realize, and you don't have to decide immediately. Just think about it." Olivia held the papers tightly, feeling torn between fear and a burgeoning hope. In the days that followed, Olivia began to seriously reflect on Logan's proposal. Gradually, she realized this could be her chance to fundamentally change her life, and most importantly, provide her daughters with the future they deserved. Finally, after much deliberation, she agreed. She enrolled in the courses and, with Logan's unwavering support, began her studies during the day while the twins were cared for by the housekeeper. Although the initial phase was challenging, Olivia felt reinvigorated as she acquired new skills and rediscovered a part of herself she thought had been lost forever. Each day represented a small victory, and she clung to the idea that she was building something enduring. Logan closely monitored her progress, offering encouragement and assistance whenever she needed it. He knew Olivia needed to believe in herself as much as he believed in her. Olivia, in turn, started to recognize how significant Logan had become in her life. His constant presence and steadfast support were slowly dismantling the barriers she had erected over the years. Olivia's daily routine shifted rapidly. Mornings, while Harper and Hazel played in the garden, were dedicated to intensive study in the office Logan had arranged for her. Initially, each page felt like a monumental task, but over time she found her rhythm. Logan's consistent and unwavering encouragement served as a powerful motivator. One afternoon, as Olivia was reviewing her notes, Logan entered the room, his expression serious. She immediately sensed something was amiss. "We need to talk," he said, closing the door behind him. Olivia felt a knot form in her stomach. "What is it?" "I found someone from your past," Logan replied, sitting across from her. "Jake Miller." The name struck Olivia with force. Jake, the man who had deserted her in her greatest time of need, the father of her daughters who had never once acknowledged them. Olivia took a deep breath, striving to control the surge of emotions. "What does he have to do with this?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "I've been looking into a few things. I wanted to better understand what happened to you after high school. I located Jake and decided to confront him." You did what? Olivia stood abruptly, startled. I needed to know the truth about what he did to you and why he abandoned you and the girls. Logan, you had no right to do that. Perhaps not, but I did it for you. Olivia remained silent, her chest tight. She knew Logan's intentions were good, but the thought of Jake re-entering her life, even indirectly, felt like reopening a wound that hadn't fully healed. What did he say? She finally asked, her voice hesitant. Logan rested his elbows on the table, sighing. He admitted everything. He said he knew you were pregnant but didn't want to assume responsibility. He claimed it was simpler to just disappear. Meta commentary section, rewritten slightly. Let's try a little game. For those who tend to only skim the comments, type pizza below. Only those who've followed the story this far will understand. Now let's return to the narrative. Olivia felt her anger swell. She hadn't expected anything different from Jake, but hearing his callous words confirmed aloud still stung. Did he mention the girls? She asked, her eyes welling with tears. Number he didn't even inquire about them. Olivia clenched her fist, trying to hold back her tears. As much as she despised Jake, a part of her had always harbored a faint hope that one day he might express remorse, or at least some curiosity about the daughters he had abandoned. Logan stood and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Olivia, you don't have to face this by yourself. I'm here. She looked at him, struggling to resist the urge to break down completely. Thank you, Logan, but there are some things I need to handle on my own. That night, after putting the girls to bed, Olivia sat at the kitchen table, staring at a cup of tea that had long since gone cold. Logan's words echoed in her mind, and the thought of Jake lingered like a persistent shadow. She knew that to truly move forward, she had to confront her past once and for all. In the days that followed, Olivia attempted to resume her usual routine, but she found it impossible to concentrate. Memories of Jake and the confrontation Logan had described weighed heavily on her mind, like an anchor dragging her down. Logan, noticing the distinct change in her demeanor, decided to give her space but observed her with quiet concern. One morning, Olivia made a firm decision. She picked up the phone and dialed Jake's number. He answered after a few rings, his voice sounding indifferent on the other end of the line. Jake, it's Olivia. We need to talk. There was a brief silence before he replied, About what? It's been so long. It's about the girls. You've never shown any interest in knowing anything about them, but that needs to change. Not for my sake, but for theirs. Jake sighed audibly. Olivia, I've already made it perfectly clear. I don't want to be a part of this. What do you expect me to say? That I'm sorry? Because I'm not. Olivia's heart tightened, but she kept her voice steady. So, you'll never meet them? Never take any responsibility whatsoever? I've moved on, Olivia. I suggest you do the same. Before she could respond, the line went dead. She stood there holding the phone, trying to process the profound emptiness left by that brief, brutal conversation. It was the closure she needed in a way, but also a harsh confirmation that Jake would never be a part of her daughter's lives. When Logan arrived home that evening, he found Olivia sitting on the couch, the twins asleep beside her. He sat down next to her, waiting silently for her to speak first. I talked to Jake, she finally said, breaking the silence. Logan frowned. And how did that go? As I expected, he wants nothing to do with them. He feels nothing. Logan clenched his fists, his anger palpable. He doesn't realize what he's missing. Olivia looked at her daughters and sighed. I didn't do it for him. I did it for the girls. I needed to be absolutely certain there was nothing left to expect from him. And now? Logan asked. Now, I move on. I want the girls to grow up without the shadow of a father who never cared. Logan nodded, admiring the strength Olivia was demonstrating. He knew she still carried the pain, but he could also see a renewed determination in her eyes. The next morning, Logan surprised Olivia with a small gift, a notebook and an elegant pen. What's this? She asked, curious. A tool for you to plan your future, he explained. I want you to write down your goals and what you need to achieve them. We'll work on it together. Olivia smiled, touched by the gesture. Thank you, Logan. I don't know what I would do without you. You do exactly what you're doing now, rebuilding. I'm just here to ensure you have every opportunity to succeed. With Logan's steadfast support, Olivia continued her studies, more determined than ever to create a better life for herself and her daughters. The confrontation with Jake had been painful, but it had also been liberating. Now she knew she no longer had to look back. The days settled into an increasingly organized rhythm. Olivia now dedicated herself entirely to her studies and raising the twins, while Logan remained a constant presence, offering unwavering support. The bond between them deepened, becoming more natural, marked by shared understanding and small, thoughtful gestures of care. One afternoon, as Olivia reviewed her notes in the living room, Logan entered with a folder in hand and a mysterious smile. She looked at him, intrigued. "What's that?" she asked, resting her notebook on her lap. "An opportunity," Logan replied, handing her the folder. Inside were documents and a preliminary contract. Olivia read the header, Project Assistant, Bennett Enterprises. She frowned and looked at Logan, confused. "Are you asking me to work for you?" "I'm not trying to pressure you, Olivia, but I thought this might be a good way for you to begin your career while applying what you're currently learning. It's a temporary position with enough flexibility for you to continue your studies and care for the girls." Olivia hesitated, reading through the contract details. The offer was generous, but she still felt uncertain. Working directly with Logan could be complicated, given the emotional connection that was clearly developing between them. "Logan, I'm not sure I'm the right person for this. I don't have any prior experience." "You have more than you think. You're learning quickly and have already demonstrated your ability to handle challenges. And I'm not offering this as a favor. I genuinely believe in your potential." Logan's words felt sincere, and Olivia could sense the weight of his encouragement. She knew accepting this job would be a significant step, but she also feared she might not live up to his expectations. After a few seconds of silence, Olivia finally took a deep breath and smiled faintly. "All right, I'll do it." Logan smiled, clearly pleased. "You won't regret it. We'll take things slowly, and over time, you'll see just how capable you are." The next morning, Olivia was introduced to Logan's team. Despite her initial nervousness, she quickly realized that he had chosen patient and understanding individuals to guide her. The job demanded organization, meticulous attention to detail, and the ability to manage deadlines. But Olivia faced each challenge with determination. The twins also seemed happier and more settled into their new routine. They spent afternoons playing in the garden or drawing in the kitchen, filling the once quiet house with the sound of childish laughter and boundless energy. Logan often joined them when his schedule permitted, strengthening his bond with the girls. One evening, while Olivia was reviewing reports in the office, Logan walked in with 2 cups of tea. He set one beside her and sat on a nearby couch. "You're doing really well," he remarked, observing her. Olivia smiled, her cheeks warming slightly. "I still have a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying the challenge." "That's what matters. Growth comes through effort, and you're showing admirable strength." She looked away for a moment, trying to manage the wave of emotions his words stirred. "Thank you for believing in me, Logan." "Truly." He simply smiled in response, and the silence that followed felt comfortable, almost intimate. Over the following weeks, the connection between Olivia and Logan deepened further. Small gestures like lingering glances or brief, almost accidental touches hinted at feelings they were both hesitant to fully acknowledge. But there was no denying that something profound was changing between them. One afternoon during a team meeting, Olivia presented an idea to streamline the logistics of a project, surprising everyone in the room. Logan, clearly proud, didn't hide his smile as he praised her initiative. "Excellent suggestion, Olivia. We'll implement this right away." She thanked him, feeling confident and fulfilled for the first time in years. At the end of the day, as the two walked to the parking lot, Logan stopped and looked her directly in the eye. "Olivia, do you realize how much you've grown since you arrived here?" She shook her head, smiling softly. "I still feel like I have so much to prove." "You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're already amazing, just as you are." Olivia's heart raced, and for a moment, the world around them seemed to fade. Logan stepped closer, as though he intended to say more, but the sound of the twins running toward them interrupted the moment. "Mommy, look what we made!" Harper and Hazel shouted, holding up colorful drawings. Olivia laughed and knelt to hug them. Logan watched the scene with a smile, feeling a deep sense of happiness just being in their presence. Later that night, as she tucked the girls into bed, Olivia reflected on how dramatically her life had transformed over the past few months. Logan's support, the affection he showed the twins, and the way he consistently encouraged her to move forward meant more to her than she could articulate. As she lay down, she felt a mixture of gratitude and apprehension. She knew she was falling for Logan, but a part of her still feared opening her heart completely again. Logan, on the other hand, found himself thinking about Olivia more and more. She was strong, resilient, and dedicated, qualities he deeply admired. Despite their complicated pasts, he felt there was something special developing between them, something worth exploring. In the weeks to come, these burgeoning feelings would only grow harder to ignore. The nights in Logan's mansion grew increasingly tranquil. After long days filled with work and playful interactions with Harper and Hazel, Olivia often found herself lost in deep contemplation. Sitting on the edge of her bed with the lights dimmed, she would reflect on the immense changes in her life. Yet even enveloped by Logan's comfort and support, a shadow from her past still lingered. That particular night, sleep eluded Logan as well. He sat in the living room, staring at the flickering flames in the fireplace. His thoughts centered on Olivia. Something about the way she occasionally withdrew into herself troubled him. He knew they needed to have an open and honest conversation about their mutual feelings to truly move forward. The following morning, as Harper and Hazel played contentedly in the garden, Logan seized the opportunity to approach Olivia. She was in the kitchen organizing the groceries that had just been delivered. Logan entered quietly, observing her for a moment before speaking. "Olivia, can we talk?" She paused, sensing from his tone that this was not a casual conversation. "Of course. What is it?" Logan gestured for her to follow him to the living room. They sat down and he began. "There's something I've wanted to say for a while, but I wasn't quite sure how to phrase it." Olivia leaned forward slightly, her heart beginning to race. "What is it?" "I deeply admire your strength and resilience, but I can also see that you're still carrying a significant amount of guilt. I think it's time for you to let that go." She looked away, his words striking a sensitive chord. "Logan, I know I've made many mistakes in the past. I made choices that led me to where I was, and sometimes I feel like I don't deserve the life you're offering me." Logan shook his head. "No one is perfect, Olivia. We all make mistakes. But you've been doing everything within your power to overcome your challenges. You deserve this, and so much more." His words felt like a soothing balm on wounds she had concealed for so long. Olivia took a deep breath, realizing it was time to confront her insecurities head-on. "Logan, I've never properly apologized for how I treated you when we were younger. I was selfish and immature, and I failed to see the value in the people around me. I hurt you, and I am truly sorry for that." Logan was silent for a moment, absorbing her words. Finally, he said, "Olivia, the past doesn't matter anymore. We've both changed, and what's important now is what we're building together. I forgive you, and I hope you can find it in yourself to forgive yourself." Tears welled in Olivia's eyes, but this time, they weren't tears of sadness. It felt as if a tremendous weight was being lifted from her shoulders. She looked at Logan, who met her gaze with calm understanding. "Thank you, Logan, for everything. You don't need to thank me. I'm here because I want to be." That moment marked the beginning of a new chapter for them. The tension from the past began to dissipate, and they both felt they could finally open up to each other fully. In the days that followed, Olivia noticed a lightness in her heart she hadn't experienced in years. She threw herself into her work and studies with renewed enthusiasm, while Logan continued to support her every step of the way. One evening, after putting the twins to bed, Olivia found Logan in the garden, sitting in one of the rocking chairs. The soft moonlight illuminated his face, and he seemed lost in thought. "Are you okay?" Olivia asked, sitting beside him. Logan smiled. "Yeah, I was just thinking about how much has changed. I remember when I first saw you that night on the sidewalk. I never imagined we'd end up here." "Neither did I," Olivia admitted, "but I'm glad it happened." "Me too." The silence between them was comfortable, as though words weren't necessary. Logan looked at Olivia, the gentle glow of the moon reflecting in her eyes. He knew he was falling for her, but he didn't want to rush anything. "Olivia, do you believe in second chances?" he asked, breaking the silence. She smiled, pondering his question. "I think I'm starting to." Logan nodded, encouraged by her response. He knew they were heading towards something special, something both of them needed, but only time could solidify it. The next morning, Logan decided to plan a surprise for Olivia and the twins. He arranged a small trip to a nearby farm where they could spend the day outdoors, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Harper and Hazel were ecstatic when they heard the idea, and Olivia, though surprised, was grateful for the chance to spend meaningful time with her daughters and Logan. The day was filled with laughter and unforgettable moments. The girls fed the farm animals, ran through the fields, and enjoyed homemade ice cream. Olivia, meanwhile, felt more connected to Logan than ever before. He seemed completely at ease interacting with the twins, as if he had always been part of their family. At the end of the day, as they drove home, Harper and Hazel were fast asleep in the back seat, exhausted but happy. Olivia watched Logan as he drove silently, a slight smile on his face. "Thank you for today," she said softly. "There's no need to thank me. It was a special day for all of us." "Yes, it was. And it meant so much to me to see the girls so happy." "This is just the beginning, Olivia. There are many more moments like this ahead of us." She smiled, warmed by his words. For the first time in years, she believed the future could be bright. When they arrived at the house, Logan carried the twins to their room, making sure they were comfortable before turning off the lights. Olivia stood nearby, moved by the care and dedication he showed. That night, as she lay in bed, Olivia felt ready to finally let go of the past. Logan was right. Second chances did exist, and she wouldn't waste the one she had been given. Mornings at Logan's mansion were now vibrant with life. Harper and Hazel would run through the house, their laughter echoing and filling the space with contagious joy. Logan, who had once lived a solitary existence focused solely on work, found himself increasingly integrated into the twins' routines, and more significantly, into Olivia's journey of growth. One morning, Olivia was preparing to leave. Logan had invited her to accompany him to an important business meeting, an opportunity for her to observe firsthand how he handled negotiations and led his team. Though excited, she was also apprehensive. She didn't want to make any missteps or feel out of her depth. "Are you ready?" Logan asked, waiting for her by the entrance. "More or less. I just hope I don't mess anything up." "You'll do great, Olivia. Trust yourself." When they arrived at the company building, Olivia was impressed by its grandeur. Logan guided her to the meeting room, where several executives were already assembled. He introduced her as a promising collaborator, which made her feel both proud and slightly self-conscious. During the meeting, Olivia listened attentively, absorbing every detail. Logan encouraged her to share some of her own ideas, and to her surprise, her suggestions were well received. "You have a very clear perspective," one of the executives commented. "Thank you, I'm still learning, but I'm glad I could contribute," Olivia replied with a modest smile. Logan watched the interaction with evident satisfaction. He had always known Olivia was capable, but seeing others recognize her abilities was even more rewarding. After the meeting, Logan took her to a nearby cafe. They sat at an outdoor table, and Olivia, now more relaxed, ordered a cappuccino. "You were amazing today," Logan said, taking a sip of his coffee. "I was so nervous," she admitted, "but it was exciting to be a part of it." "This is just the beginning. You're building something solid, Olivia." She looked at him, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "None of this would be possible without you, Logan. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. All I did was show you the path. The credit is entirely yours." Their moment was interrupted by a call from the housekeeper, letting Olivia know that Harper and Hazel were asking for her. Logan smiled. "Looks like your little ones miss you." "They're quite attached. They can't stay away for long," Olivia said with a laugh. When they returned home, the twins ran to their mother, hugging her tightly. Logan watched the scene, feeling an ever-deepening connection with the girls. He loved their boundless energy and how their laughter could brighten any space. Later that afternoon, Logan decided to organize a small picnic in the garden. Harper and Hazel were thrilled, helping to pack a basket with sandwiches, fruit, and juice. Olivia sat on a blanket spread out on the lawn, watching the girls run around with Logan. "You're getting more and more comfortable with them," Olivia remarked as Logan sat down beside her. "They're incredible kids. It's impossible not to grow attached." "Thank you for being so good to them, Logan. They feel safe and happy here, and that's all I've ever wanted." Logan smiled. "They're a part of you, Olivia, and for me, that's enough." His words touched Olivia deeply, and she felt her heart race. She knew her feelings for Logan extended beyond mere gratitude, but the fear of fully opening her heart still held her back. As night fell, Harper and Hazel finally grew tired and fell asleep in their mother's arms. Logan helped Olivia carry them to their room, and together they carefully tucked the girls in. As they stepped out into the hallway, Olivia paused, looking at Logan. "You've changed our lives, you know that." "You've changed mine too, Olivia." The intensity in Logan's gaze made her feel vulnerable, yet safe at the same time. She knew she could no longer ignore what she was feeling. Later that evening, while Olivia was in the kitchen preparing a cup of tea, Logan walked in. He stood silently for a moment, watching her, before stepping closer. "Olivia, there's something I need to say." She turned to face him, her heart beating faster. "What is it?" Logan hesitated briefly but decided to be honest. "Since you came here, my life has completely transformed. You and the girls have brought something into my world that I didn't even realize was missing. I care about you, Olivia, far more than I can adequately express." His words washed over Olivia like a wave, catching her off guard. For a moment, she didn't know how to respond. But then she smiled, her eyes glistening. "Logan, I care about you too. But all of this, it's still so new to me. I need time." Logan nodded, respecting her honesty. "I understand. I'm not asking you to rush. I just wanted you to know how I feel." Their moment was interrupted by a faint noise from upstairs. Harper had woken up and was calling for her mother. Olivia smiled and went to tend to her, leaving Logan alone in the kitchen. He sighed, looking at the abandoned teacup on the counter. Winning Olivia's complete trust would take time, but he was willing to wait. What he felt for her and the girls was worth every moment of patience. In the subsequent days, the relationship between Logan and Olivia continued to blossom, marked by small yet significant moments. With each passing day, Olivia felt herself opening up to him more, while Logan remained patient, granting her the space she needed to heal and build trust. A long journey still lay ahead, but both were prepared to face whatever challenges came their way, together. The sky over New York was blanketed in thick clouds, heralding an approaching storm. Olivia was in Logan's office reviewing reports he had assigned her. She felt increasingly confident in her abilities now, yet she still approached each task with the gravity of someone who understood the profound importance of this job for her new life. Logan entered the room carrying 2 cups of coffee. He placed one beside Olivia and sat across from her, observing her in silence for a moment before speaking. "You're doing exceptionally well, you know that?" Olivia looked up, surprised by his casual, approving tone. "I'm trying my best, but I still feel there's considerable room for improvement. You're demanding of yourself, and that's a commendable trait, but I want you to know I'm incredibly proud of everything you're accomplishing." Her cheeks flushed slightly, and she turned her gaze back to the computer screen. Logan's compliment felt like more than just professional praise. There was a warmth in his voice she couldn't ignore. Time seemed to accelerate as their bond deepened naturally. Logan consistently found ways to demonstrate his care, whether through small gestures or words that made Olivia feel special. On her part, she noticed herself gradually lowering the protective wall she had constructed, though a subtle guard remained. One night, after the twins had been put to bed, Logan suggested Olivia join him on the mansion's expansive terrace. She hesitated but allowed her curiosity to guide her. Upon arriving, Olivia was struck by the breathtaking view. The city lights shimmered like distant stars, and the cool night air carried a serenity that contrasted sharply with New York's usual relentless pace. Logan stood beside her, quietly admiring the way her eyes reflected the city's glow. "I used to come up here when I needed to think," he finally said, "but lately I don't feel that necessity anymore. I believe it's because I've found something that brings me a greater sense of peace." Olivia turned to him, sensing there was more behind his words. What brings you that peace, Logan? You, he stated without hesitation. His words took her by surprise, and for a moment she was speechless. Logan took a step closer, diminishing the distance between them. From the moment I saw you that night, something inside me shifted, and as we've spent more time together, I've come to realize that what I feel for you is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Olivia's heart raced. She knew her feelings for Logan were intensifying, but hearing his confession spoken aloud made everything feel more tangible, more real. Logan, this is all so new for me. I'm still trying to find my balance, to be strong for myself and for the girls. I'm not asking you to rush, Olivia. I simply want you to know how I feel. She took a deep breath, looking into his eyes. There was a sincerity there, an earnestness she couldn't ignore. And for the first time in years, she felt like it might be safe to open her heart again. I feel something for you too, Logan, but I need time. I need to be certain I'm ready to move forward. Logan nodded, respecting her hesitation. I would wait as long as it takes. Their moment was interrupted by the distant rumble of thunder, signaling the approaching storm. Olivia looked toward the horizon, feeling the cool breeze on her face. We should head inside before it starts raining, she suggested. Logan agreed, but the light in his eyes made it clear that this conversation had fundamentally altered something between them. In the days that followed, the atmosphere between Olivia and Logan grew more emotionally charged. A subtle tension underscored their interactions, as if both were striving to find a delicate balance between their personal connection and their professional roles. One evening, Logan decided to surprise Olivia with a special dinner. He asked the housekeeper to look after the twins and personally prepared a meal for the two of them. When Olivia came downstairs and saw the elegantly set table, she was speechless. You did all this? She asked in disbelief. I wanted to do something special for you, he replied with a smile. During dinner, they talked about everything: work, childhood memories, dreams for the future. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and they felt increasingly comfortable in each other's presence. I never imagined I'd be here, with this chance to start over, Olivia said, reflecting. And if it weren't for you, Logan, I don't know where we'd be now. You'd be somewhere fighting, just as you always have. I merely had the privilege of offering assistance. But it was more than that. You believed in me when no one else did. That makes all the difference. Logan reached across the table and gently took her hand. I'll always believe in you, Olivia. Always. His touch was warm and reassuring, and Olivia felt the walls she had painstakingly built over the years begin to crumble. She knew she still harbored fears, but she also recognized Logan was unlike anyone she had ever met. When dinner ended, Logan walked her to her bedroom door. For a moment, they stood in silence, simply looking at each other. Good night, Logan, Olivia said softly, a gentle smile gracing her lips. Good night, Olivia. As she closed the door, she leaned against it, feeling her heart race. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine a future where she wasn't alone. Logan, meanwhile, walked down the stairs with a smile on his face. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was willing to take every necessary step to win Olivia's heart completely. That night, as the rain finally began to fall, they both fell asleep with a new sense of hope, as if the future was at last starting to reveal itself. Olivia and Logan's daily lives began to flow with a surprising, natural ease that caught them both somewhat off guard. The twins were growing increasingly attached to Logan, and he, in turn, demonstrated genuine affection and care for them. Yet Olivia still experienced moments of doubt, not about her burgeoning feelings, but about whether she was truly ready to fully trust someone again after so much hardship. One afternoon, while Olivia was diligently working on reports in the office, her phone buzzed on the desk. It was a message from an unknown number. When she opened it, she saw a photograph of Logan engaged in conversation with an elegant-looking woman at a restaurant. The caption read, "Do you really know who he is?" Olivia's heart pounded. While she understood Logan had a social life and professional contacts, the anonymous message deeply unsettled her. The doubt she had been trying so hard to suppress came rushing back with unwelcome force. Who was that woman? And why would someone send her such a cryptic, insinuating message? Logan arrived home later that day, seemingly relaxed and at ease. He found Olivia in the living room with the twins playing nearby. He immediately sensed something was amiss. "Are you okay?" he asked, sitting beside her. Olivia hesitated for a moment before showing him the message. "I received this today." Logan frowned as he looked at the image. That was a business meeting. "She's a consultant we're considering hiring for a new project." Olivia wanted to believe him, but the message had cast a disquieting shadow over her trust. "Why would someone send this to me, Logan? It feels like they're trying to warn me about something." "I don't know, but I can find out." "Olivia, you have to trust me. I would never do anything to hurt you." His voice was steady, and his tone carried genuine sincerity. Olivia looked into his eyes and saw something she couldn't ignore: the transparency of someone with nothing to hide. "I want to trust you, Logan, but it caught me off guard. My entire life has been filled with disappointments, and it's hard to simply ignore that ingrained fear." Logan gently took her hands, giving them a reassuring squeeze. "I understand, Olivia. I won't pressure you. I just want you to know that I'm here, ready to face anything by your side." In the days that followed, Logan investigated the source of the message and discovered it had been sent by a disgruntled former employee he had dismissed months prior. He showed Olivia the evidence, making it clear there was nothing to fear. Olivia felt a mixture of relief and guilt. She knew she was still learning to trust again, but she also realized that Logan was willing to do whatever it took to ensure her emotional security. One night after putting the twins to bed, Olivia went to Logan's office. He was focused on some documents but looked up as she entered. "Can we talk?" she asked, closing the door behind her. "Of course, what's on your mind?" Olivia sat in the chair across from his desk and took a deep breath. "I want to apologize for doubting you. I know the message shook me, but that doesn't excuse my lack of trust. You've always been completely honest with me, and I need to be fair to you." Logan gave her a soft smile. "You don't need to apologize, Olivia. I know how difficult it is for you to let your guard down. I'm here to help, not to judge." His words struck a chord, and Olivia felt tears well up in her eyes. "You're so different from anyone I've ever known, Logan. It scares me, but it also makes me want to believe that I can be happy again." Meta commentary section, rewritten slightly. Time for another little game for our dedicated viewers who don't just skim the comments. Type Coca-Cola below. Only those who've journeyed this far with the story will understand. Now back to the narrative. Logan stood and walked over to her, kneeling by her side. He gently wiped away a tear that had traced a path down her cheek. "You can be happy, Olivia, and you don't have to do it alone." That night, something fundamental shifted between them. The walls Olivia had maintained for so long finally began to crumble. The days that followed were filled with increasingly meaningful moments of closeness. Logan continued to demonstrate patience and profound care, while Olivia slowly allowed herself to trust him completely. One afternoon, as they strolled through the park with Harper and Hazel, Logan watched Olivia playing joyfully with the girls. In that instant, he felt an unshakable certainty. This was the life he wanted. He wanted to be with her and with the twins, always. When they returned home, Logan asked the housekeeper to watch the girls for a few hours. He then took Olivia to the mansion's terrace, the very spot where they had shared a pivotal, heartfelt conversation months earlier. "Olivia, there's something I want to say." She looked at him, her heart racing with anticipation. "What is it?" Logan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opening it, he revealed a delicate, sparkling ring. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you and the girls. You've brought light and joy into my existence in a way I never thought possible. Olivia, will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Olivia's face as she covered her mouth in shock and overwhelming emotion. "Logan, yes, I will." Logan smiled broadly as he slipped the ring onto her finger before pulling her into a tight, loving embrace. The storm that had defined the tumultuous beginning of their journey had finally passed, and they stood ready to embark on a new, brighter chapter together. As the twins slept peacefully in the next room, Olivia and Logan talked late into the night about their future plans. A simple, intimate wedding, overflowing with love, and a life built firmly on the trust and mutual respect they had worked so diligently to achieve. That night was merely the prelude to a journey filled with countless happy moments and the inevitable challenges they would face, united as a true family. Preparations for Olivia and Logan's wedding commenced with simplicity yet profound meaning for both of them. Olivia envisioned an intimate ceremony, surrounded only by those who had become integral to her new life. Harper and Hazel were ecstatic at the prospect of being flower girls, and Logan thoughtfully involved them in every detail, from choosing flowers to selecting dresses. Despite the joy that permeated every moment, Olivia knew she still needed to confront one final ghost from her past. While she had come to terms with the fact that Jake, the twins' biological father, would never assume responsibility, she felt a compelling need to face him one last time. "Logan, I need to talk to Jake again," Olivia said one evening while they were on the terrace. Logan frowned, a flicker of concern in his eyes. "Do you think that's truly necessary?" "Yes, not for his sake, but for mine. I need to close this chapter definitively, once and for all." Logan took her hand, his eyes full of understanding. "If that's what you feel you must do, I'll be right here by your side." The next day, Logan managed to locate Jake's current address. Olivia decided to meet him alone, but she felt reassured knowing Logan was just a phone call away. When she arrived, she found Jake standing outside a small, rather run-down bar, visibly worn down by time and the choices he had made in life. "Olivia," he said, surprised to see her. "Yes, it's me. We need to talk." Jake sighed and gestured for her to follow him to a table in the corner. He looked uneasy, as though hoping this encounter wouldn't take long. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice tired. "I'm here to tell you that I no longer expect anything from you. You made your choice years ago. But the girls deserve to know that I did everything I possibly could to give them the best, and now I'm moving on." Jake sat in silence, staring at the empty glass in front of him. "I know I failed, Olivia, but I don't know how to be a father. I never did. That doesn't matter anymore. They have someone who loves them as if they were his own flesh and blood. Logan is everything you never were, and never will be." Jake didn't reply, but the look in his eyes indicated he understood the weight of her words. Olivia stood up, feeling she had finally said everything she needed to. As she left the bar, she felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in years. When she returned home, she found Logan in the yard with the twins, helping them set up a play tent. "How did it go?" he asked as she approached. "It went the way it needed to. Now I'm truly ready to move on." Logan smiled and pulled her into a warm hug. "I'm proud of you." In the days that followed, Olivia focused entirely on the wedding preparations and her new life with Logan and the girls. She finally felt she had found a true home, not just in a physical sense, but in the love she shared with Logan and the joyous laughter of Harper and Hazel. On the morning of the wedding, Olivia was nervous but radiant. Wearing an elegant white dress, she looked at herself in the mirror, reflecting on how profoundly her life had changed. The twins, dressed like little princesses, burst into the room holding flower bouquets. "You look beautiful, Mommy," Harper exclaimed, her eyes shining. "Thank you, my darlings. You both look stunning, too." With her heart full of emotion, Olivia walked down the aisle where Logan was waiting. Their eyes met, and in that instant, all her doubts and fears vanished. The wedding was simple but imbued with love and profound meaning. Every word in their vows reaffirmed the deep bond they had built, not just as a couple, but as a united family. When the ceremony concluded, Harper and Hazel ran into Olivia and Logan's arms, squealing with delight. The future that once seemed so uncertain was now a tangible promise of happiness and togetherness. After the wedding, Logan's mansion felt even more alive, more complete. Harper and Hazel quickly adapted to the idea of having a full family unit, and Olivia felt she had finally found her true place in the world. Their days were filled with laughter, shared activities, and countless tender moments as she and Logan established their new routine together. On her first morning as a married woman, Olivia woke to the cheerful sound of birdsong from the garden. She turned to find Logan beside her, watching her with a peaceful, loving smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Bennett." She smiled, still adjusting to her new last name. "Good morning. Ready to start our new life?" "More than ready." The initial months of their marriage were characterized by gratitude and renewal. Logan supported Olivia in balancing her work and studies, while continuing to be a devoted and engaged father figure to Harper and Hazel. He made it a priority to be present for every important moment in the girls' lives, from small school achievements to nightly bedtime stories. One afternoon, while organizing some paperwork in the office, Olivia began feeling unusually lightheaded. Assuming it was merely fatigue, she decided to rest. However, the symptoms persisted over the following days. Logan, noticing her exhaustion, insisted she see a doctor. "It's just tiredness, Logan. I'm fine," she said, trying to reassure him. "It might be, but it won't hurt to get it checked. I want to make sure you're taking proper care of yourself." Reluctantly, Olivia agreed and scheduled an appointment. She felt a bit anxious, but didn't anticipate any major news. However, after the routine examinations, the doctor delivered news that would once again change their lives profoundly. "Congratulations, Mrs. Bennett. You're pregnant." Olivia sat in silence for a moment, processing what she had just heard. Pregnant. The thought of having a child with Logan filled her with both immense joy and a touch of surprise. When she returned home, she found Logan in the living room, playing with Harper and Hazel. His warm smile reassured her that this was the perfect moment to share the news. "Logan, can we talk for a moment?" He noticed the seriousness in her tone and asked the girls to go play in their room. Once they were alone, Logan stepped closer, curious. "What is it, Olivia?" She took a deep breath, trying to hold back her emotions. "Logan, I went to the doctor today, and I found out I'm pregnant." For a moment, Logan was silent, absorbing her words. Then a huge, radiant smile lit up his face. "You're pregnant?" She nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "Yes, we're going to have a baby." Logan pulled her into a tight embrace, his heart overflowing with joy. "This is amazing, Olivia. I don't even know what to say." The following weeks were filled with excitement as they began preparing for the new addition to their family. Harper and Hazel were thrilled at the news that they would have a baby brother or sister and eagerly helped Olivia pick out clothes and decorate the nursery. One quiet evening, as they watched the twins sleeping, Logan and Olivia reflected on everything they had overcome to reach this beautiful moment. "It feels like we've been through so much in such a relatively short time," Olivia said gently, caressing her growing belly. "And every challenge brought us to this. I'm happier than I ever thought I could be." Olivia smiled, deeply grateful to have Logan by her side. Despite all the hardships they had faced, they knew they were now building a life filled with enduring love and unshakable hope. The pregnancy brought the family even closer together. Logan was exceptionally attentive, always ensuring Olivia was comfortable, while Harper and Hazel could hardly wait for their new sibling to arrive. Every detail of the planning was infused with care and joy. However, like any journey, there were moments of concern. During a routine checkup, the doctor advised Olivia to get additional rest due to a slight risk of complications. When Logan heard this, he became even more solicitous, taking on many daily tasks to ensure Olivia could relax completely. "I don't want you to worry about anything except taking care of yourself and the baby," he said firmly but gently. Olivia chuckled softly. "You're spoiling me too much, Logan. You deserve all the care in the world, Olivia." The months flew by, and before they knew it, the due date was near. On a calm evening, as a gentle breeze swayed the curtains, Olivia went into labor. Logan remained composed, though his emotions were palpable, and quickly took her to the hospital. Hours later, the sound of a baby's cry filled the delivery room, bringing indescribable joy to everyone's hearts. It was a boy, healthy and strong. Logan held the baby in his arms, overwhelmed with emotion, while Olivia looked at them both with tears of happiness. "Welcome to the family, my son," Logan said, his voice thick with emotion. Harper and Hazel, who had been waiting eagerly in the hallway, were brought in to meet their new brother. They were delighted, promising to always care for and protect him. Life at Logan's mansion felt wonderfully complete. What once seemed like an improbable family was now a shining example of love, unity, and resilience. Each challenge had only made them stronger, and the future seemed brighter than ever. As Logan cradled their newborn son in his arms and the twins played nearby, Olivia felt she had finally found what she had always longed for, a home filled with unconditional love and people who would do anything for one another. What were your impressions of Logan and Olivia's story? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We'd also love for you to rate this story on a scale from 0 to 10. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated on all our upcoming stories.